This is the voice of the New York Football Giants, Bob Papa, and you are listening to the best throughout Europe, the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, we are proudly in association with Andy's Man Club. Lads, remember, it is okay to talk, and tonight we are 67% British, 33% Irish, but as always, we are still 100% Giants. April Fool's Day is upon us, which means it's draft month. Come on, ladies and gents, the draft is a mere 3 weeks away. And the big weekend in Pittsburgh coming up very, very soon. We're back tonight to continue our look at the boys' top 5 prospects at each positions. This evening, picking up where we left off last week, finishing off the defense with linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties. Joining me tonight, that way, Aaron, Kev. Happy draft month, boys. How we doing?
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, exciting, isn't it?
It is so exciting. I mean, obviously everyone's been doing April Fool's things today, which is a bit of crack, like a lot of it. I don't fall for them as much now as I used to do. But like you said, Dan, it's draft month now. The draft is 3 weeks away tomorrow. So it's very, very exciting now, and everything's starting to ramp up now. The more we're looking into these prospects, the more stories we're hearing, the more players we're hearing that we're going to pick at number 5. So it is very interesting.
Yeah, we've already had our April Fool's joke with Evan Neal and Joshua Azudu coming back, right? That was the early April Fool's joke, wasn't it? We had to check the date when those were announced.
Can you imagine? They should have kept that for today.
Yeah. It was.
And people would have gone, nah, April Fool's, fuck off.
Yeah.
No, deadly serious.
It was like Bobby Skinner with Talking Giants last year, wasn't it? He announced that he was leaving Talking Giants and starting the Giants Nation show, and it was on April 1st, and everyone thought it was April Fool's joke. No, it was real. Yeah. It was probably the worst day to drop that news, but right. It was. It's funny how skeptical we become just because of the date, right? We all don't want to believe our eyes on it, but yeah, we can believe our eyes with some of the prospects that we're going to talk about tonight, and hopefully, as we've talked about safety and linebackers tonight, number 5 heavily linked with 2 of the guys that I'm sure will appear in our top 5 rankings. So yeah. Well, and one of them's down there on the bottom of the screen right now.
Yeah, no doubt they will. Yeah, there's 2 definite positions of need. So it'd be interesting to see who's in your boys' top 5. But yeah, April Fool's Day. I saw quite a few on X earlier, and I'm just like, no chance. You just know now, don't you? It's one of those things, and it's like I said with Bobby leaving Talking Giants last year, it's like at the time it's like, nah, this can't be true. And then he actually obviously then released the other video to say, actually, yeah, it is true. My contract with John Boy Media ran out, and it was like, oh, okay, so that's why you're announcing it today. Fair enough. So yeah, looking forward to tonight. I love talking defense at the best of times. So yeah, it'd be good to see who you guys have earmarked in your top 5s at these positions. You know, everyone. I love a linebacker. I know Shane loves a linebacker as well, and a safety as well, to be fair. So linebackers and safeties are my 2 sort of go-to positions that I love on the defense. So looking forward to this one. If you're watching live on YouTube, X, or any other platform whichever you're on, get involved in the comments. Send us your questions as well. Feel free to drop a question in there, and also who you like on not just these 2 positions, but the entire defense in this year's draft. And don't forget to like the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Be very disappointed if you haven't. And for audio listeners, leave us a review on your platform of choice. Aaron, how many stars? He's on mute, but he's holding off a big fat 5. 5-star review would be wonderful. You can also now buy us a coffee as well, or a beer, or a can of pop, or whichever you choose. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Big Blue UK Ireland. You can find the link in the description for that. And you can buy us a drink at our next meetup, which will probably be draft night in 3 weeks' time. So get some pennies in the kitty. and we'll have a drink on you. First up, as always, though, is the news. Not a huge amount this week. Everything sort of died down a little bit in terms of free agency. But over the weekend, we had the league's annual owners meeting, which took place in Arizona, which it wrapped up today. Coach Harbaugh, GM Joe Shane, and quite importantly as well, co-owner John Mara in attendance at the meeting. So it's good to see John Mara there, obviously going through treatment for cancer. So it was good to see him there and flying the Giants flag as usual. There was a few snippets of Joe Shane talking, but the main sort of press conference or interview, if you like, was from John Harbaugh, from Coach Harbaugh, and he spoke at length. Really, it went on for about half an hour, talking about culture, his culture in the organisation, his relationship with the front office, the off season so far. He went to there was various questions asked and answered, and it might come as a bit of a surprise, but there was no real sort of mention of a rebuild or reset. It was very much like feeling quite optimistic about the season, about having depth in positions that we didn't have before, and learning from previous mistakes that were made in the organisation. We spoke about winning a lot. He said the goal is to win every game and end up in the playoffs. So straight off the bat, you're like, hang on, season one with, we're talking about playoffs. He said the aim is to win every game. So, it's high hopes, don't get me wrong. And I think it's really quite refreshing to see that sort of that positivity, considering the last 3 years, really. And he mentioned about his relationship with Joe Shane as well, about how positive that's been and how well they're working together, and not just with him but the rest of the front office as well. And he's excited to see the differences in the way the organisation prepares for the draft in comparison to what it was in Baltimore as well. He said, if there's things that are the same, that's fine. He said, but there's also going to be differences, which he's excited to find out. And you expect him to have some sort of influence on draft proceedings as well. And he spoke about in the lead up, in the last in the week leading up to the draft, 3 days out, they'll start to put a plan together about where they're going to go. But he said about the number 5 pick, and if the trade offer's there and it's worth it, it's got good value, then they'd be stupid to not at least consider it. So I think at the moment they're open to all options and all sort of all variations of trading back or sticking and picking with the best player available. And it was a really positive half an hour press conference overall. And he went on to talk about the strength of the roster, with depth being added at key positions. He's looking forward to seeing free agent signing Isaiah Likely come in and make an impact alongside Theo Johnson. Talked about 2 tight end sets, about how good he is in pass catching, and his pass catching rate is really strong, but he's also good in run block as well. So and playing alongside Theo Johnson, who he again praised Theo Johnson quite highly as well. So he believes it's Isaiah Likely's time to shine, because obviously he was behind Mark Andrews in Baltimore, but now he thinks it's his time to shine as that sort of tight end one, and could come in and do a really, really good job for us. So, and I like the way he spoke about the organization as if he'd been there for a long time. He didn't come across as the decisions that were made before I came, or refer to his didn't refer to his time the organization before he joined. He just called as it was, and it was quite. It almost felt like it'd been there for a year, for years, So it was a good press conference, and if you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend going and watch it. It's on the Giants YouTube channel, so check it out if you haven't watched that. But yeah, he obviously had plenty of comments regarding the mentality to come in and essentially win now. Like I said, that's his sort of way he's thinking. But are you surprised by that? Considering our poor record in the last 3 seasons, Kev?
Not really, because it is Coach Harbaugh, and for him, he hasn't had losing seasons for the last 3 years. So he's coming in with the correct mentality. And essentially, he's saying is that they're going to go into every week next year looking at ways to win, to try and beat the opposition. And it's about time we had that positivity going around. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a completely new roster. He's put together a bit of an all-star coaching staff. So in his eyes, why can't we? We've seen teams in the past turn it around so quickly with the right hires and good drafts and some good free agent signings. So I'm excited and I'm glad sort of a coach has come in like Harbaugh and he's given this, positive. We're going to go out and win games because some of the players who are still here need to hear that they are good players and they can win games in this league.
Aaron, what do you make of the press conference overall?
Yeah, it's obviously great to see the guy talk and represent the Giants. There was no sort of doubting or challenging his authority when he speaks. He's speaking with the way the organization is moving. Diving into a little detail and picking up on some of his words. I got the butterflies from the whole. We must stop the run. 4 and 5 yard runs are a disaster. So is that a tip to a Sonny Styles at 5 being linebacker being really important to make sure we stop that?
He said that's key on defense. He said you can give up a 25-yard pass and just move on to the next play. If you give up a 5-yard run, everyone's like, you know what I mean? He really wants to stop that run on defense.
Yeah. So and given that there's no obvious defensive tackle in that first 15, right? All of the names that we've talked about, that there's no tackle in 15. There's some of the guys that I saw that we were bringing in. So someone that we were apparently bringing in who's a possibility at 37. A couple of the prospects in that kind of range coming for 30 visits. But so I think the idea of going attacking the best player available, best option available, and then shoring up one of the lines at 37, I think is to me fastly becoming my preferred strategy. Whether that means we trade down at 5 and pick up an extra pick, but I think there's a real. I think we can strengthen either line, either at guard or defensive tackle. We talked those prospects through on previous weeks, right? So we know there's some really good guys in the top half of that second round that can probably compete to start for as an upgrade. So yeah, running the ball, both sides of the ball. Two tight end personnel. Although he talked about Likely and not said about Likely, he did remember to say, look, Theo's going to be a good guy too. Theo's going to still be in that scheme. And when you're going two tight end and a fullback in the mix as well, we're going to we're going to be looking to run the ball 4 and 5 yards a play as well.
Exactly, and he did talk about obviously like positional value at 5, and if why does his name escape my fucking why? Your boy Kev,
Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, there we go. If he's there at 5, like, do they go with that? Obviously, based on like what the organization has done previously with Saquon. And he said like he's very good. In fact, he's very, very good. In fact, you could probably add another 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 berries in front of that as well. So like they're exploring that as a potential option as well. Like,
yeah, I do feel like there's smoke screeny type stuff to this. Joe Shane even went out of his way to mention that taking Love now is completely different. We're in a completely different position with this roster than when we let Saquon go, and trying to say that it wouldn't be like a backward step if we went for running back. I think the talent is really good, but it wouldn't be my preferred choice at that spot. And given where the roster is, I don't think it is a slam dunk to say that we just need that first round talent running back and to put us over the top. And I'd rather use it to strengthen other positions, knowing that it's not as deep as last year's running back class, but we can add somebody on day 3 as a running back or even as an undrafted free agent and just add to running back room that we have, and keep you should be adding every year at least a UDFA running back into your backfield mix. And then if we come back here in 12 months' time and we're solid at all other positions and we don't have any starting headaches, then yeah, go and get a first round running back and help push you over the top. But yeah, it was quite interesting. The one thing that Harbaugh did mention and talk very lovingly about, and then they also pictured having dinner together with some members of the team, was Odell Beckham Jr. And that fact that he has great respect, one of his favorite players of all time. He speaks to him regularly on text, and seemingly like opening the possibility that yeah, for the right price and the right fit, Odell would love to have you on board at the Giants. So whether I wonder if there's a bit of a veteran will hold out till post June 1 as well from a compensatory pick and this kind of thing. And you don't have to come and do the full off-season program. Just come and join us in training camp. Don't worry about all the OTAs and this kind of thing, and come and join us later. Kind of attitude. But yeah, interesting. It's looking more and more likely the return of the man is to East Rutherford is going to happen.
I think just to add to that, I think like with the comp pick stuff, it's literally as soon as the draft's over, as soon as the Saturday night's over, that Sunday, the draft pick, the comp pick is out the window and you can sign all your free agents then. So don't be surprised if quite soon after the draft, if we haven't sort of hit guard or tackle, we start to bring in those players and give them a bit of money, and someone like Odell Beckham does come in. But Dan, what is your thoughts of the Odell Beckham reunion?
Well, I mean, I think it's nostalgia for one. I think we spoke about it briefly last week. It's that whole nostalgia piece, isn't it? It's that seeing him back in a Giants uniform, back where he started his career in the pro league, and he's obviously older. He's had a few injuries. Obviously, he was injured all last year, and obviously had the PED charge last year as well, which isn't great. But the fact that coach is in contact with him, and if you believe the rumors you see on X, then the Giants are going to be hosting a private workout for him. So it's almost like, okay, it's building a little bit of momentum here, and obviously again he spoke very, very highly about Odell Beckham in his press conference. So those links are continuing to be there. So I would be happy to bring him in just for a year, just to add again a little bit more depth to that receiver room, that veteran presence, and I read as well that if he does come in, Jalen Hyatt's not going to give up the 13 jersey because he wants to make history in that jersey. Well, so far you're not making history in that jersey. So far, the only history you've made in that jersey is your shit.
I think that was an April Fool's tweet or X post or one of those
Quite possibly
one of those burners or one of those was the Steinberg-y type.
Quite possibly,
but I given the position he's in, that genuinely he doesn't have to give it up because he might not be on the team come the final cut down to give it up, right? So
exactly.
So whatever he's wearing in training camp, don't worry about it because it's not until that final 53 are set that as we all know, jersey numbers are unofficial until that point, and they can even change after the season if anyone bought Abdul Carter 51 jerseys. Finding out.
I did.
Because they don't. Too soon.
Thanks for that. Thanks.
But just a bit of bow on the Beckham thing. I think, like for me, very quickly, is like yes, it's nostalgia, and I like to see a good story, and I bring him in. I think he'd be a good mentor, a good leader, as in the sense that yes, he done some silly stuff in the past, but he's obviously learned from it. He's a bit older now. I think he's still got incredible hands, as I said last week. For me, I think he's not a cancer in the locker room. He gets on well with everyone. He's well respected by all the players. You see everyone trying to sort of like Burns is making comments about him, egging him to come back. You got Neighbours doing it. You got Dart. He's mixing with Dart. He's having dinner with Carter. He's met with John Harbaugh. So I don't think it'll be like a negative thing. Whereas in some players, it might be a case of, oh, why are you bringing him back for? No one gets on with him. But for me, I think like it's a why not? As long as people understand that he's coming in and he has to earn his place, as long as he's humble enough to understand that, he's not going to be given anything, then why not bring him in, give him a workout, see what he's got, add him to the 90-man roster. We have 90 spots to fill for training camp. Why not add some experience into that wide receiver room?
Exactly that. And talking of why not as well, Coach Harbaugh mentioned a why not in his interview when he was talking about Evan Neal and Josh Azudu. The question was put to him like, well, basically like, why have you re-signed them? And he mentioned a quote from someone, I can't remember who it was, but basically saying like, why not? Why not give them a chance? They're both. He revealed that he was really high on both of them in that draft class for the Ravens, which didn't surprise me about Evan Neal because obviously he was one of the top touted tackles that year. But yeah, they looked closely at both of them, and so he wants to give them both a chance. They've not had the best start to their careers in the league, but he wants to give them both a chance because he thinks they're hard-working guys. And they've got a chance to improve as well. So maybe that's why that's kind of a big part of the reason why they've been brought back and they haven't been let go. So it's a fair shout, why not? Obviously what we've seen of them has not been great, but there's still a chance to improve. And so, if he's convinced they're going to improve, then watch this space, I suppose, because it could happen. Whether it does happen or not, that's another question. But here we go. And yeah, obviously, like I said, with John Mara attending as well, he was a little bit more cautious when he was questioned by the media. He's conscious of the team's poor recent performances, but he does seem to genuinely believe that the new setup is different, and I think he's got a bit of confidence about that as well. And he said he wanted real progress this season. He feels confident with the new structure. He understands the fan base frustrations of recent seasons, and he kind of knows that results need to come soon as well. So, all in all, like the interviews out of this weekend's annual owners meeting seem to be really positive and really good. So, we've got a lot to look forward to over the next few weeks. Obviously, with the draft coming up, and then because obviously he's a new head coach, we get to start our off-season program that little bit earlier.
Next Tuesday, I think, is it?
Yeah, it is. I think it's 7th of April. 7th? Yeah, next Tuesday, yeah. So we get to start the off-season program in a week's time. So yeah, let's see what this team have got so far, right?
Yeah, exciting to get the team on the field, playbooks in their hands with the coaches for the first time, and this is really the kickoff of the Harbaugh era in terms of the on the field side of things. It starts next week.
And the thing is, like, these coaches have been under pressure since they've been appointed because they're not walking in with set playbooks. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be Harbaugh's going to have like a certain type of offense. You've got the running back coordinator, the run game coordinator. What's his name again? The O-line coach.
Greg Roman.
Greg Roman. You got his sort of emphasis on his plays. You've got I'm drawing a complete blank now. Matt Nagy's. They would have had to put together a whole new playbook since they've been together. So it's really interesting to see, like, you could think what this team's going to look like, but they've had to really sort of sit down and go over what plays work, what plays don't work, what they want to add, what they want to take away, and they'll continue that process over these next couple of months.
Yeah, exactly that. This the start of the off-season workouts. This would be a chance to start, running a few of these new plays and seeing how they work, or whether they work, whether they don't, what needs to be changed, and just tinkering with that playbook, because we've only been in place a couple of months, but they've had a lot of work to do over the last couple of months. So it'll be good to see what they come up with, and yeah, just lots to look forward to. Can't believe it's 3 weeks tomorrow until the draft night. It's always super exciting, especially first round on a Thursday night. Yeah, it's probably one of the best nights of the year, draft night.
Yeah,
I thoroughly
Christmas
enjoy
for
it.
us.
Literally, yeah, you're not wrong.
And
All right, then.
I was just going to say, Dan, we're going to talk about probably tonight the guy we want at 5, right? Into the linebackers and DBs. So you said at the start this was one of your favourite position groups of all the position groups to talk about. Do you know who else likes linebackers and safeties in particular?
John Harbaugh.
He's
Yes, he
known
does.
to have some seriously good safeties and some seriously good linebackers in his career. So I bet he's salivated to take one in this, at least, if not one in the 5th overall, but in this draft. So there's some really good quality. It's a really good quality draft at linebacker. Really cool.
Just before we start, I know we're just about to start to talk about top 5s and stuff. I was thinking about this the other day, and you're 100% right with Harbaugh and the safety play he's had and the linebackers play he had. And I kind of thought to myself, who will benefit a current Giant that will benefit this season? And I thought to myself, I think we will draft a linebacker, but I can see Micah McFadden having a really, really good, productive year. I'm not saying he'll be a starter, although he's penciled in as a starter now. But I could see him playing really well. And Tyler Nubin as well. I think it's a complete clean slate for him. He was a ball hog safety coming out of college. And I just think with Harbaugh coming in and with the defensive coaches he's put together, I think we might see a lot of better play coming from these guys this coming year.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And so, shall we jump into the top 5?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll
start
start
linebackers, corners, and safeties.
So we'll start at linebacker. Now, somebody who doesn't appear, I said we'll crack on. A slight diversion. So there's a guy that we haven't talked about at all in a draft who's listed as a linebacker, but we all talked about him as an edge. But if our number 1 linebacker has gone, would you consider drafting this guy as an off-the-ball linebacker in Arvell Reese?
I would. I think he wants to be and will be best suited as an edge. But could I see us drafting him at 5 if he's there? 100%. Because I think he can do enough. Because, can you imagine? I don't know if someone put it in our group or I heard it somewhere else, but can you imagine rotating him and Carter, like one off ball, one on the line, and just the amount of offensive coordinators' heads you'd explode, pulling one back, pitting one forward, and on different plays and stuff like that. The chess pieces you could have moving them around, the exotic blitzing and stuff, would be an absolute mind meld for melt someone's offensive coordinator's mind. So I could see it, and it would be fun for a defensive coordinator to have.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we haven't really considered in that kind of conversation. Obviously, we're not. None of us have got him in our linebacker rankings, but it's another thing to consider that as you start to run all of these permutations and combinations and trade downs and this, that, and the other, and you go, well, is everybody overlooking what Arvell Reese has done at off the ball linebacker? And actually, if he was to fall to number 5, and Sonny Styles has gone before that, do you go, well, do you just pivot and go, well, we'll put him in, we'll bring him in, knowing that he's probably as a positional value, as an edge, a guy that can be a potential edge, so not just as a linebacker. You bring him in and go, well, actually, you've got options that with Kayvon Thibodeau to be traded out, and you're still not necessarily short at edge. I obviously got down the road, Brian Burns, and you can think about succession plan. Can one of these guys play linebacker and then move to an edge and this kind of rotation thing? So I wouldn't discount it. Obviously, it's been talked about in that kind of thing, and Sonny Styles has been the guy that we've all talked about. He's pictured down below. So it's those kind of things. So anyway, into the top 5, and surprise, surprise, we all have Sonny Styles at 1. We all have CJ Allen from Georgia at 2. And then things get interesting. So both Shane and Kev have got Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas at 3. I have Anthony Hill Jr. at 4. So, not too big of a slide for him. My favorite linebacker in the draft, Jacob Rodriguez, I have got at 3, and I would take him quite happily at 37. A few weeks ago, maybe before the combine, you were getting him in the 3rd round. Now he might not be on the board at 37. So should be on the board at 37, but might not be on the board at 37. Shane's got him at 4, and Kev's got him at 5. So still in the top 5 for Kev. Kev, you've got Jake Golladay at 4, and he appears at 5 for Shane. And the one, me being the solo guy for my number 5 is Kyle Lewis from Pitt. So I don't know. Do we want to start with Sonny Styles? Is there more to talk about Sonny Styles? I know maybe we haven't gone deep on him, but why is he such a standout number 1 linebacker prospect?
I would say I know Shane's been busy this week, but these graphics are shocking. I think it doesn't look like Jake Golladay or Rodriguez there for my top 5. But anyway, I won't diss him out too much. That's not fair. I mean, Sonny Styles. I mean, let's talk about the obvious. He's 6'5", 244. He absolutely blew up the combine, running a 4.46 40, a 1.56 10-yard split. Jumped out of the arena. I mean, last season he had. Was it 88 tackles, 2 sacks, 15 pressures, only 2.2% missed tackle rate. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal. And he's just one of those players as well. Like he's converted safety. He left high school a year early to declare for college, to go into college a year early. He's going to college when he should have been a senior at high school. He does community service for the Huckleberry House as well that helps homeless youths. So he's sort of the right RKG, as I say, right kind of guy, high character. Like I said, he converted from linebacker, converted to linebacker on his senior 2 years ago. Played all 16 games in 24. He made second team All Big Ten. He started 14 games last year. And he made first team All Big Ten as well. He's just, he was on Bruce Fieldman's list 23, 24, and 25. So he's just athletically ticks every single box. Great in coverage, considering he's a former safety as well. The stats speak for themselves. He's a tackling machine. I mean, there is no real bad thing to say about him. I mean, you could say he's only been 2 years at linebacker, but for me, only 2 years of playing linebacker and having that much production and popping off the film the way he does, I mean, he can only get better in my eyes. So, I mean, he's about as clean a good a prospect as there is in the draft. And it's just a shame that he's a linebacker, and that's considered one of those positional. I keep forgetting it again. What was it? Positional value. Yeah. It's just like it's considered like not great because he's an off-ball linebacker, but he's one of the best off-ball linebackers I've seen in a long, long time.
And on the so he turns 21 about a week before the season starts as well. So he's, like you said, he came out of high school effectively early and this and the other. Yeah, he's still got.
He's super young, isn't
he? Yeah, and he is on a year that we've talked a lot about measurables of people. He just walked into the combine at 6'4", and you go, that guy's the linebacker, like not the edge rusher or that kind of he's 89 percentile for a linebacker. So he's a big linebacker, and you go 240. He's on he weighs 240, which is, for this day and age, that's on the slightly larger side of what the modern linebacker is. Obviously, back in the day, you were looking at 250, 260 for linebackers. But not only does he come in at kind of bang average weight now for a linebacker in the NFL, but he goes and runs a 4.46 40, which is 97th percentile. It's like,
it's phenomenal for someone of his size, right?
Yes, exactly, for the side of that. And And not only that, when he adds the sort of cone drill kind of time and the movability, the sideline to sideline that you get from this kind of guy, it is incredibly rare for that pure linebacker prospect. And he's not, he is a dominating run defender, and as we've said, something Harbaugh is absolutely looking to make sure we upgrade. But he isn't by any means a poor pass rushing. He's got pass rushing upside as well. So when we talked about Arvell Reese a minute ago as sort of kind of, can you do some sub packages where you mix around what you're doing with Carter and Reese? You can certainly get some of the same impact from Sonny Styles from if you send him on a blitz and drop Carter into coverage, for example, instead. There's these kind of things. He can
he's at 8 sacks in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. And he can threaten the A gap as well. So he's big enough to take on defensive tackles, and he's too quick for them. So he can rip move through the A gap. He has decent length arms as well. So again, maybe not the complete length and profile that you would want from an edge rusher guy, but we don't want this guy to be an edge rusher. This guy is the centerpiece of the defense. He's a downhill run backer. But if the team is going to run away from him, he's got the sideline speed to chase a running back down and make the tackle long before the guys deep into the backfield. So yeah, he is just a phenomenal prospect that when he's gone to the combine and gone, oh, he is slightly bigger than he looks like he is on his tape because of how fast he plays. So he sort of is the prototype for the modern NFL linebacker.
And I mean, no, I was just gonna say, like, and one of the things I like as well, like, his dad played in the NFL as well. He's drafted in the 3rd round in '95, I think. His brother started off as a cornerback at Notre Dame and then transferred to Ohio State, and he's in this draft as a safety. So you've got that sort of like bloodlines, and he knows how to sort of the expectation, how to behave in the NFL as well. So, like I said, 0 character concerns and such a good football player.
Yeah, and just to add, his vert, it was the best ever for a linebacker, 43.5.
Mental.
Oh.
Mental.
So he just shows a level that that you can't really, it doesn't come along very often, and I think that's the real key. Why you take a linebacker at 5 and you look at where they come out in terms of earnings, they're earning money. That's a top 5 linebacker in a league. Certainly in that 5th year option, that 4th year for the guy. So you do need them to be playing at all pro or Pro Bowl level. But this is a guy that if you were to go and ask me to go and design an all pro, it would look something like this guy. So that's why we're all excited. He's shown everything that you can think of. Open field tackler, pre-snap. You can see that he knows what's going to happen and he anticipates the play well and these kind of things. So it's just all of these kind of real high level traits that you go, well, guy, he's 21 at the start of the season. We're drafting him and he's 20 and a half years old. Like, this isn't his floor is going to increase from here. He's, so yeah, he is by far and away. I'm convinced he's worthy of the number 5 pick in the draft. Hopefully, nobody before him thinks he's worth before the number 5 pick of the draft, and he doesn't go off the board before he gets to us. But yeah, I think my top target for us if we stick and pick at 5.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, imagine Tremaine Edmonds, him, Mikey McFadden, you sort of 3, 1, 2, 3 inside linebacker. Like, that's a scary thought, right? Just him alongside Tremaine Edmonds is very strong. Add in Micah as well as that sort of depth piece, so rotating, and just it fills me with excitement, and I hope to God he's there at 5. I really do.
Mhm.
So, consensus number 2 across the board, CJ Allen. So, um, again, so for me, that there is there's a clear step down, but CJ Allen is a first round linebacker. In any other draft, he would be the number 1 kind of prospect. But kind of what takes him off that kind of level, he's not quite the same athlete. Still a very good athlete, 40 times 4.55. Did it at his pro day. He's got big hands, but he comes in at 6'1" and at 230. So again, he's that again quite common in the modern NFL to have a middle linebacker that's now coming in at this sort of size. But if the trend in the NFL is to move more back to 2 tight ends and power run and this kind of little thing that we sort of coming into the back of the season, he may struggle kind of at that real peak of him. But he is, he's comes in and he's played in the SEC. That the SEC is a really tough level of competition, and the stats he puts up there. So the tape is really good. It's just the absolute measurables of the man that you go, oh, is that really worth that really high first round pick that we're kind of comfortable with Sonny Styles? And for me, he's not quite there, but his tape, his production is very there. It's just that he's maybe not a plus athlete.
Yeah, he's obviously a little bit in the smaller side, but like you said, his stats sort of speak for himself. What are they like? 94 tackles, 4 sacks, 13 pressures last year. Again, missed tackle percentage only 7.8. Like anything under 10 is phenomenal. And if it starts to get to 18, 19, 20, then you start to worry about the missed tackle rate then. But I like he's one of those like I love players who played multiple sports in high school as well. Like in high school, he played quarterback, running back, linebacker. He also played basketball, track and field, sprinting, and a shot putter. He came in. He was all first team all SEC last year. He's dense, compact. He's not the biggest, obviously, like you said, like height and size wise, but he's compact and he feels like he's shot out of a cannon. The way he hits you, you feel like the players look like they've been hit. You can tell, and not only is he a really strong tackler, a heavy tackler, but he's a consistent one as well. Like I said, 7.4 career missed tackle rate, which is absolutely class. And he's got no problem running with tight ends, which you need to do. Like tight ends are so athletic now in the NFL. You need to be able to run with them, and he's just like constant, just is a relentless nature of just chasing the ball down, and you see him make backside plays constantly because it's just his will and want to, and speed is there. So yeah, he's definitely a player I like. Like you said, first rounder, yes, but more of a back end of the first rounder.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3 for you, Kev, Anthony Hill Jr. Why is he your number 3 guy?
For me, like just going on off how tall is he now? Like, so he is 6'2", 238, which is kind of average now for like the way linebackers are going, like you mentioned before. His stats last year, he ran a 4.51 40, which is very good for a linebacker. I mean, you can't compare it to Sonny Styles because he's just an absolute freak. 63 tackles last year, 3 sacks, 16 pressures. His missed tackle rate was 4.5. He's another one of those that's highly recruited coming out of school. He was second team All SEC last year. He's a long athlete. He can run. He can cover. He's a really good run defender laterally, so he can get across the line and get a lot of make tackles like on off tackle runs. He's quick to read and react. His instincts are very good. He's better in run defending than he is pass defending at the moment. The defender he can get frozen when he looks at the quarterback's eyes, and the quarterback can sort of fool him a little bit. But I think like he's got a really good feel for delayed blitz, which you're seeing a lot more in the NFL. Yeah, he's one that again, like I think like that top end of the second round, again at our pick at 37, I think he could be a fantastic sign in there.
Yeah, and he is a very aggressive downhill linebacker. He plays with violence. You can see that he's out there to hurt someone. Gets a bit high sometimes when he tackles. Maybe his tackle form leaves somewhat to be desired sometimes. But he is, he is a guy that that has, again, a lot of the really good traits that we've seen success in the league. I actually like his pass rush probably better than a lot of the other linebackers we've talked about already. His as a pass rush, and he could make it as a on pass rushing downs. He's not a guy that you're going to take off the field because he is a plus pass rusher. He does show that little bit of dip and bend to get around some of these guys. He is also a bit of a ball hawk. He's created a load of fumbles. He gets in there and these kind of things. So for me, it was really close whether he was 3 or 4. So obviously I ended up with him as a 4, but that's probably my love for J-Rod rather than my lower of Hill Jr. So I think again another guy that's like I say, early day 2 guy may slip a little bit because again, this is a deep linebacker draft. So it's a bit like last year where the running back went a little bit later than we expected because there was. You go, well, I won't take this one there because when I pick again next time, the next guy on my list will be available, and actually, there's not a lot between them, and I'd rather wait around. And then all the running backs just kept sliding down last year. We might see the same with linebackers because there's so many good guys that will start in the NFL, and he's an interesting one.
And one thing I'll say about him as well, like these top 3, they're all 21 when the season starts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're all really young. They've got lots of time to develop. And one of the last thing I'll say on Anthony Hill Jr. as well, one thing I liked about him was him getting through traffic. Like when you get the lineman going up to the second level, he's very good at slipping those sort of type blocks and then making the tackle on the running back, which I love to see. So we may as well talk about your guy then, since you kind of mentioned him there.
The one. That's it. So my number 3, your number 5, Shane's number 4, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Again, the knock on him, he is 23 and a half years old. So he is an older he will be 24 by the time the season but his level of production for Texas Tech, absolutely phenomenal. He's a guy that just found his way to the ball time after time after time. He's got that kind of attitude. 13 career forced fumbles, 6 interceptions, and 5 fumble recoveries. Started out as a quarterback way back when, and transitioned to the linebacker. So you see that in his play, like his anticipation, particularly those underneath routes. Pre-snap, he's always moving around. He's really difficult for a lineman to get at the second level because he's shifty. Proved that in his in his kind of measurables. Some people said, "Oh, he's just going to be an average athlete." He's only 6'1". He's 230, but again, like we say, 230 now is that modern. It's slightly below average for a linebacker, but it's not. That guys at the NFL have proven to do it. But his 40 was his 40, his 3-cone.
His 3-cone, I was going to say. Oh my god!
Oh,
the change of direction, and that's what you need as a linebacker.
3-cone is one of these ones that he's 84 percentile. But when you think that basically, if you're not good at the 3-cone, you just don't do it these days. So there's so of the he's 85 percentile, 84 percentile in the guys that actually did it. But if you take how many guys didn't run the 3-cone, and then look at where he's a top 10% athlete at 3-cone, which is that change of direction, that shift it shows up on tape. They say it doesn't necessarily have the outright blazing speed, but 4.57 at 40 is not outrageous. 6'1", 230.
It's not exactly slow, is it? Let's face it.
No, and he's not prototypical size, so he has to make up a little bit of that speed. But just the aggression he plays with, the ball hawk, that he's just 2-year captain as well at Texas Tech, and clearly a guy in the same way Cam Scatterboo fires up the offense, this guy would fire up the defense in that kind of same insanity that they bring to football. Again, coverage can be there sometimes. Receivers kind of had a good day against him, but he's not a guy that like I say, he is that kind of old school middle linebacker in what you ask him to do. He's not necessarily one of your coverage linebacker types, but just a guy that had just this knack of going. When Texas Tech needed a play, he'd find a play like out of nowhere, popping a ball out, recovering a fumble, picking the quarterback off. He's just and then, like I say, then when he goes to the combine and his measurables, his timing kind of went, oh, so he is a plus athlete. On top of that level of production, you just go, well, yeah, okay. He might not look like the prototypical NFL superstar, but there's something about these type of guys when they translate. Similar to Cam Scatterboo, he was, his long speed's not there. Will his game transfer to the end? Is he going to be able to truck people? Well, the sample size that we got last year showed that he could take what it is, and I would bet on this guy doing the same again. Thing. So maybe 37 is a little high for this sort of where the questions are, but maybe he is a guy that does slide down the draft board with the talent that's got the thing, and you can maybe get him into the third round. I don't think so. Once I saw his combine statistics, I was like, yeah, this guy's going early on day 2.
I mean, like, I was looking at stats earlier, and like, what was it? Like 80 tackles is considered good, right? Anything above 80 is considered good. He had 124 tackles, right?
Yeah.
Anything above 40 stops is considered good for a linebacker. He had 70 stops. He was just like you said, he's one of those players that just like got in around the ball. He was in there and everything. I mean, like, what did he have? 4 interceptions, 3 pass breakups last year, 10 forced fumbles in the last 2 seasons. Like you said, the ball found him. He just has that knack, and he's such a good instinctual player.
Yeah, Dick Butkus Award this year for best linebacker in college, and yeah, just the again, maybe lacking a little bit in the physical measurables, the height, the weight, the hand size, the arm length, but in the athletic measurables, it's all there, and it's kind of like, well, when you've got the athletic measurables and you've got the tape and the statistics to prove that you're productive, I don't really care if you're slightly undersized. If you're productive and you've got the athletic measurables, it's when you've don't have the athletic measurables but you've got the production. That's where I kind of go, well, that translate. But when you have these athletic measurables and you have that production, I'm willing to bet on your talent. Okay. Wrong one. That one. So Jake Golladay, you're number 4. Shane's number 5. Why do you have him as your number 5 guy?
Well, he's first of all, like, he's 6'4", 240. He had 101 tackles last year, 4 sacks, 18 pressures, 43 stops, only a 9% missed tackle rate. So all the sort of like stats back up that he's a good player type thing. He actually started off on the defensive line, and then two years ago moved to off-ball linebacker. And this past season, he played all 12 games, and he made first team All Big 12. He's just big. He's fast. He's physical. He's athletic. He flies around like his hair's on fire. He made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list last year. His measurables were good. He's a hard hitter. He's okay in coverage, but he sort of covers areas of the field more so than actual players. He needs to work on that a little bit, but I think he's got really good skills and talent there, something to work with. I mean, he can also rush the passer. He was productive on the defensive line, so he gives you that sort of like versatility as well. And he's good at sort of like getting off those offensive linemen that are coming up to the second level. So Yeah, I think sideline speed's there. So yeah, so I'm really sort of like I think he could really progress again and go on to the next level at the NFL.
Yeah, and I like him a lot, and I left him off because I think maybe he's more of an outside linebacker, eh, probably an outside linebacker in a 3-4 rather than so he's maybe not a pure
Mm.
edge rusher, but I kind of left him out because I think again like you said he's moved from the defensive end to there, um, but he has that frame to be a Brian Burns type. Um, it may obviously not necessarily the explosiveness, but I think he could be uh, more of an edge than he is a linebacker. So I didn't have him in my rankings for linebacker because I thought, oh, that's maybe where I didn't know necessarily. He's what sort of a tweener where you don't really know what he is as a direct role position, but yeah. So I went, and again, I really struggled with. There was quite a few guys that I had in that same kind of bucket. So there is a big drop for me to the next guy, and I've got Carl Lewis. But again, he's a guy that I really like as a pure athlete. Again, broad jump, the vert, we're in that kind of same stratosphere as Sonny Styles. But obviously nothing like the size. So he's 6 foot. He's 220 pounds. So he's from East Orange, New Jersey. So a New Jersey lad. And he is on the small side, but his coverage really makes up for that. So he's that kind of coverage linebacker that gives you something different in that kind of thing. So yeah, you need to make sure he plays in probably a 4-3 scheme to make sure that he's got two defensive linemen getting hands on the guards so to keep his shirt clean, to be able to make the plays in the run game. But very productive, explosive tackler. When you actually see him hit and finish through a guy, he tackles the guy about 2 yards behind where he's standing, as where his kind of aiming point is. There's if you watch his pick six against Syracuse from 2024. He looks like a defensive back,
Mhm.
just like absolute athlete. Quite often gets two tipped passes. So if the ball's knocked up in the air, he'll get to the ball. Um, it's one of those kind of really interesting um, prospects. But again, I wouldn't be looking to spend a day two pick necessarily on him. He's much more. He's got some limitations. Where did you have? Do you have him in your rankings, Kev?
I didn't have him in my top 5, but I did have him at number 8. So he's in my top 10.
Yeah,
And I think he's a phenomenal sub-package linebacker, like
exactly.
you
Yeah,
said. And yeah, exactly. The reason why I like him is all the things you said. I mean, I think the only real downside is the size, and I've just gone for more traditional sort of like linebackers.
and I get that completely. So, um, moving on to the my guys. So here we go for linebacker. Josiah Trotter for Shane. Bryce Botcher? Is it
Bet-
Botcher?
Betcher.
Betcher.
Betcher, yeah.
For Kev, and Torian York from Texas A&M for me. So I'm just all about these Texas college Texas linebackers, right?
I was going to say, you like these small linebackers who fly around the place.
Yeah. So let's start with York, right? So in the same way, Lewis is kind of a small guy. York is an incredibly small guy, and he was like 1% arm length, 1% height, on the kind of measurables, or maybe bottom 10% at least. Arm length 30 inches. Yeah, quick. In a straight line, maybe not on a 3 cone. Benched okay, and again, he's a guy whose tape he is phenomenal. He's making all the tackles. He's all over the place. He is you know, a guy that plays above his size. But he will be probably a day 3 guy because of his size. But he is a guy that I think you want to bring in a training camp. You want to see what you've got. You'll know very quickly whether you've got a bargain. That's yes, he's going to be a player that's limited, the guy that ends up in sub packages, but is certainly a guy that won't miss tackles. Is aggressive in the tackle. He's a pit bull in the tackle. From his side, again, can do the sideline thing. Has shown some growth in zone packages and zone coverage as well, so he can do some of the off the ball stuff. But just the guy that he's got that dog in him, and is a guy that I would take a chance on in the 5th round or something like this. He's a guy that is worth the pick at that point in the draft when everybody's got some kind of limitation. His sort of but his tape says, well, actually, if he was 6'2" and 230 and didn't have the really short arms, he'd be in the top 5 of these linebackers, no doubt about it, with his tape. But he's that bottom 10%. That outlier. We've seen in the Giants. We've bet on a couple of outliers and seen Wandale and Flott and people like this that have gone and shown that they can play above. There are people that can play above their kind of physical measurables. But you don't make a living in the NFL consistently picking these outlier guys.
Yeah, and I'll just one quick line on him for me is like he's explosive. He's read and reacts so good, which you can really tell on screens. Like he sniffs out screens like one of the best sniffing out screens a linebacker in this class, to be honest. So the talent is there, and for him to be like a 3rd linebacker behind McFadden and Edmonds, I would be happy with that.
Nice.
Tell us about your guy, Kev.
So we're going to talk about Bryce Betcher. He's got a cool story actually. He was a quarterback, recruited as a dual threat quarterback coming out of high school, but he was also one of the top ranked shortstops in Oregon. He was drafted by the Houston Astros in the 13th round of the 24 MLB draft. And I think was it in but he actually he told when is it 2024? He actually told the Astros that I'm going to play football for Oregon this year. I want to go out. I want to be a football player. And he didn't attend their spring practice when he was called up in 25 as well. And he went out this past season, played all 15 games, and was 2nd team All Big Ten. He is what's his height? Now he's 6'1", 233. So again, he's not on the biggest size, but he's 126 tackles, 2 sacks, 12 pressures, only 10% miss rate, tackle miss rate. He's a long athlete. He's smooth. He's one of those. He looks like one of those safety converted into linebackers. He's a gritty player, big motor, really good blitzer. Played a ton of special teams as well, so he'll give you that on the special teams. He does kind of leave his feet as a tackler instead of keeping his feet in the ground and driving through. He kind of dives at ball carriers. He lacks a little bit of anticipation. I can't even say it. Jesus. But for me, every time you watch him, you're like, oh, that was a good hit. I like this linebacker. And so for me, like he sort of popped off the tape, and I was like, again, day 3, if he's there and they pick round 4 or 5, it's like you could add him to the team. He might not start for you straight away, but he'll be a special teams ace, and he could work his way to be a starting linebacker.
Yeah, and then just a quick one-liner on Trotter. So he's a guy I really liked as well. I think I had him at 7. Just a guy that's a bit of a bigger frame. He's got long arms. He can be quite impactful in the run game. But he's clear coverage is a clear weakness, and his side to side is kind of not there. He's kind of much more of a downhill linebacker, and that will limit in where he goes in the draft. But again, I can kind of see why caught Shane's eye in that one. You want to move on to defensive backs, and we'll hit the cornerbacks.
Absolutely,
so
let's get it done.
top 5 corners. So unanimous at number 1, Mansour Delane from LSU, and a guy that we've been linked with. If we were to go down the corner, maybe a guy that if we trade out of number 5 that we link to. Consensus here for 2 and 3 for Shane and Kev, with Jared McCoy and Colton Hood, the 2 Tennessee corners. I have AJ Terrell at number 2, and then Colton Hood at 3. So we're all unanimous at number 3 on is in our list. Number 4, we've got Brandon Sisse for Shane. There's number 5 for Kev. Doesn't feature in my top 5, but I think he would be my 6th. Both at 4 for me and Kev. We're unanimous on Chris Johnson. AJ Terrell sneaks into Shane's top 5. Kev, you don't have him, and another outlier guy for me at 5, D'Angelo Pond, who earlier today ran 4.28 at his pro day. Okay.
4.28 down.
Yeah, he's quick, small but quick.
Yeah, he needs to be quick because he's short, but his tape is up there. Mansour Delane.
Yeah.
LSU, Kev. Highlights for the listeners on
Yeah, he's 6 foot 187, so he's kind of prototypical size. 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions last year. Didn't allow a touchdown last season. For me, he originally started Virginia Tech, moved over to LSU, played 11 games last year, and he made first team All-American and first team All-SEC. He's fluid. He's got quick movement skills. His covering is exceptional. He's always covering the opposition's number 1 target. So he hasn't been second or anything like that. So his change of direction is effortless. So good to see. He reads the quarterback really, really well, especially from depth. He puts his hands on receivers as well, which some college receivers don't like to do. They kind of play off coverage a lot. He's quite happy up there, putting his hands on receivers. He's quick enough to cover anyone on the field. He ran a very good 40. Was it 4.38 his 40 recently at the pro day he was clocked in at. He played. He's mean. He's physical. He's got 4 career forced fumbles. He played all over the defensive back for Virginia Tech, but he was very much that number 1 cornerback last year, and he played like it.
Yeah, and I think he's almost the guy that gets underrated. I know we're talking about here. He's the number 1 cornerback in our list, and he's a top 10 player consensus. Just sneaking into the sort of top 10 as a consensus player, but there's nowhere near the hype of maybe some of the other corners, top corners in classes in previous years, and I struggle to see why not. Yeah, maybe he's not a Sauce Gardner or one of the truly elite corners, but he's a guy that had 0 penalties last year. He's a guy
as a
that didn't allow
cornerback in the
touchdown.
SEC. That's crazy.
Yeah. Didn't allow us touchdown in 2025, and 2 receptions got of more than 20 yards the entire season, right? So he is he literally had a no-fly zone on his side of the thing. So you and it's like, this wasn't like he did it in a group of 5. He didn't do it out in against lower competition. This is the cream of the crop. Some of the best receivers, some of the best offenses in college football, and he seems to the way he kind of reads some of these routes. He's almost like he's psychic. He has like a premonition that it's going to happen.
He's a film junkie apparently as well. So you're getting a serious player.
Yeah, he looks a little light. 190, little lean, and this kind of thing. But again, we've seen that actually in this, the size isn't necessarily a limiting factor, especially if the quarterback is scared to even throw at you, right? So he's maybe not going to be a plus run defender in for the outside zone and these kind of things, but he is, and he can, like I say, he's not a true burner. He's not that kind of like 4.28 like we were just talking about with Pons. But with his anticipation and a little bit of cushion, he kind of more than makes up for that kind of thing. Yeah, I I almost feel like, again, because of the way he's not been talked about and this kind of thing. If we were to take him at 5, there might be a little bit of a kind of negative
Oh,
reaction. But I think if uh, again, when we talk positional value and the kind of what corners go for these days, actually, when we kind of compare that into the role, he's definitely an outside man corner, right? So,
yeah.
and we know what premium that they attract in the league. So if you walk away with this guy at 5, I don't think I it might not go down amazingly well on draft night, but when we look back at it in 4 years' time, I think this might be a really good value pick in the grand scheme of things. If this is the sort of guy you went for, okay. Moving on, number. No, let's talk about 2 and 3 together. The 2 Tennessee guys, because I've left McCoy out, but I've left McCoy out because there's some injury history. Not because I don't think he couldn't be in a top 5 talent in the thing. And then obviously Colton Hood at 3, the 2 Tennessee guys. What do you think, Kev?
Well, we'll start McCoy first of all. We missed all of last season. First of all, yeah, 6'1", 188. Like I said, he missed all of last year. He hasn't done it. He's tested yesterday, was it, or today? And I don't think I've got the measurements down. But yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, he was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he's got the correct right body type for an NFL corner. He's a fluid athlete. He mirrors wide receivers excellent well. Stays in the hip pocket. Love to see that. He's really good at press. He's really good at off coverage. He's physical throughout the route, so he's constantly fighting with the wide receiver without giving up penalties. He plays the ball at the catch point like a receiver. I think he had 12 pass breakups and sent 6 interceptions at 2 previous years he was playing. Short area quickness is very good. His route recognition is really, really good. So the quarterback can get baited into throwing balls he shouldn't throw. And he's a good tackler as well. I think like he ticks a lot of boxes, and it's only the injury really that people would knock him for.
Yeah, and that's why I had him off the board. But obviously, he only did literally his stuff yesterday or today. 4.38, 40, 38-inch vertical and 10.7 broad. So he's up there with, I think 38 would be the second in the class, and 10.7 would be the 10th best in this draft class. So his measurables are all there. Again, I think now that I have that information, I think I'd be with you and Shane of having him at 2. But I'd left him off just because of the red flag and didn't know. Again, until you see a guy run, I'd be, you don't know whether he's got stuff going on, and we know how sometimes some ACLs are more complex than others. So, yep. And then Hood, the other Tennessee cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a fluid athlete. He's really good in his transitions. He's a rangy player. His recovery speed's really, really good. He's sticky in man coverage. He's a good sound tackler. He reads well from depth. I mean, no concerns about the run game as well. He's a really good tackler. He sort of like tackles like a linebacker when he has the opportunity. Again, multi-sport athlete from high school. Comes from athletic family. Only 6.7 missed tackle rate last season. Yeah, he's another really, really sound cornerback, and I see a lot of people projecting him maybe late first round pick. But again, at that pick 37 for us, I think that's a nice sweet spot. And if he's there, he'd be a no-brainer and he'd come in and start for us.
Yeah, and then linebackers, cornerbacks is what we want. So we've got the same guy at 4. I love Chris Johnson from the San Diego State Aztecs, and not a common team that you hear from, and that's really his biggest knock is the level of competition that he's played at. Right? Is it's not the SEC, it's not the Big Ten. He's played that kind of thing, but his numbers that he's put up as a defensive back, he's a guy that's that's been a textbook tackler, and he missed 3 tackles, so he's a guy that you can hold up in the run game. Ball hawk, catches the ball well. I think he had 4 interceptions in 2025. Again, a zone coverage guy gave him 10 interceptions away as well. A quarterback's posted a 20.6, so better than what we were talking about with Mansour Delane. Again, he's also slid inside at slot at times, took some box reps, didn't look uncomfortable. So he's a guy that you can move around. He's great at press. He doesn't bite on the stutter. Everything that you see on tape is like, right, he's excellent. He's then gone and ran 4.4, 38-inch vert at a 10.6 broad. So in that same ballpark as an athlete as we were just talking about with McCoy. He is got everything that you want. Little bit like 194, but kind of normal for corners these days. And it's that Mountain West competition that he's gone against that just makes people a little wary. But he's the sort of guy that's going to be available at 37, almost definitely. Maybe not much longer after 37, but again, at a premium position. I think his 9.67 RAS, so he's an incredible athlete. He's got production. Yeah, his competition was low, but again, we've seen guys look at Gray Zabel, right, as a guard that's come in against low level competition, taken in the first round, and now is a Super Bowl winner. And held up really well in the Super Bowl. So just because you've come from low level competition, doesn't mean that you should be a knock anymore. I know in this day and age of transfer portal and everything else, we kind of expect these guys at small schools to go and find a year at a big school and prove it. But Californian kid stayed in California. I can kind of see why maybe he didn't make that transfer.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, things that stood out as well was, like, in his freshman season, he played in 12 games as a backup, and he was named the team's most outstanding freshman. And then the next season, he played another 12 games as backup, but he was Special Teams Player of the Year. Next year, played all 12 games as a starter, and this past year, he played all 11 games, and he was first team All Mountain West. He was also Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. So if you're coming from that level, make sure you dominate at that level. Do you know what I mean? So he's proven that he did dominate in that. And like you said, he's a fluid athlete. He's got a really good feel for zone. Needs to be a bit more handsy. He could be a bit more better in press. I'd like to see that, and you could work with him in that. He's good in run support. And yeah, I mean, he's only got a 5.4% missed tackle rate in his career. So that's absolutely phenomenal from a cornerback. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's really, really good zone. Needs to work with man a little bit, but again, that sweet spot, he would be an excellent pick, at pick 37 for us.
Now, Shane's number 5, my number 2. We skipped over him. AJ Terrell out of Clemson. So, and Kev, he's not in your top 5. I'm guessing he just fell out just outside your top 5.
Well, I was going to say, can you guess where he is?
Number 6.
Number 6, yeah. So he's thereabouts.
Yeah, and he is a definite plus press man QB corner, right? So this is what you want this guy doing. Looks great in thing. A lazy comparison, but quite accurate. Peanut Tillman, he forced 8 fumbles at Clemson. He's clearly got that peanut punch down right. Again, knock on him is his frame. So 5'11", 186. Maybe I'm not so harsh on these small guys, Kev, like you and Shane, right?
Well, for me, right, that's one of the reasons why, just very quickly, is why he's outside. You're going to go through all the good stuff, right? But I see him as a slot. I know he played slot and outside, and he more than held his own outside. But I just kind of see him as a slot. And again, I've said it before in other podcasts. For me, I kind of look through blue-tinted glasses from a Giants point of view. And when I think someone's going to be a slot corner, and our need is outside, then that sort of pushes him down a wee bit for me. But yeah, that's only knocking him, to be honest. Sorry.
Yeah, and let's say he's scheme versatile. That is the way he's played in college, and maybe that kind of says, well, maybe he is a better as a slot, that or even that kind of third safety, that kind of he kind of plays in that kind of role. But again, just a guy that he wants to go against number one guys. He gives it back in both his play and with his mouth. Again, maybe a little grabby, and maybe something that won't get away with in the NFL.
The one thing I did see, though, just quickly on that point, one thing I did see is like, was it 2024? He had 7 penalties, but he dropped that down to 2 this year, which is, you have to say, fair play.
Yeah. So but again, I think he's a guy that he's got the dog in him. He's a guy that again has played against top level competition. Hasn't really, obviously all the Clemson guys this year are getting marked down because of how bad Clemson were against expectation.
Yep.
And you kind of go, why were they so bad? But you look at them as individuals and you're like, well, this guy's a top 5 guy at this position. They're top 5 guys at nearly all of these positions, and Clemson were terrible. So again, that little bit of concern about that kind of thing. But obviously, older brother older brother AJ Terrell, first round pick out of the Atlanta Falcons in 2020 as well. So got that kind of bloodlines thing going on. And then Brandon Cisse for South Carolina. Kev, your 5, Shane's 4. Very quick on him.
Yeah, he's 6 foot 190. We're talking about that is the size, prototypical size now for cornerbacks in the NFL. I mean, but he's very muscular with that. He's got a lean body. He's got good height, long arms. He's a very rangy player. He explodes from depth, which I love to see. He's an incredible athlete. He stays connected in press coverage, really smooth, especially as back pedals, really, really nice. Good feel for zone. And he's an aggressive player, which I like. When I see him blitz as well. When I saw him blitz this year, he's comfortable with that. He's a really good blitzer from the quarterback position. So again, he's another player at that sort of like, he's a top 50 player for me. So that 37, I'd have no issues taking him at all. I think he is a really, really sound player.
Yeah, and I think again just falls out the top 5 for me. But again, a guy that I wouldn't be upset with in that day 2, for early day 2. A lot of these guys, again, cornerback premium position. A lot of these guys that we're talking about here are going to hear their name called early on day 2, if not on day 1. Again, a guy that some teams probably will have off their board, but when you look at his play and look at his thing, for me, Pons, reason why he's going to be off a lot of teams' board, he's 5'9". He is a short king, 29.38 inch arms, but a 43.5-inch vert. So he's absolutely plus athlete. I said earlier today, his 40 time came in 4.28, 4.29 on his 2 attempts on the 40 today. So talk about his size and about it being smaller. Watch the game against Washington where he managed to take 2 picks in one half and took one of them 67 yards to the house. But he also throws 6'4" Denzel Boston to the ground and makes a tackle. So, Denzel Boston is one of my favorite wide receiver prospects, right? But watch him against 6'4" Denzel Boston against 5'9" Pons, and Pons chucks him to the ground, makes the tackle, and it's one of those kind of things. He had 2 block punt returns for touchdown. That kind of special teams contributor ability. He's just a baller. That's thing. But because obviously his height's a challenge, but he's got such good eyes, such good makeup speed. You see him watching the QB and then jumping the route or making up the ground and making a play on the ball. But he'll just be off the board for a bunch of teams. And maybe he's off the board for the Giants, but he's a guy that you really want to see. Got no tape of him playing in the slot, so he's only ever played outside. But maybe the NFL you can get away with a guy that's smaller in the slot sometimes. And he's obviously you want to hide him from the big bodies in the run game, but like I say, he's I think just how explosive of an athlete as he is, he's talked himself back into second round contention.
Yeah, I mean, like his was it 6.1 career missed tackle rates, phenomenal for someone his size. And I'll just there's one like quote that sums it up perfectly. Like, what is it? It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. And I think that sums Pons up incredibly well.
Yeah. Okay, and then my guys. Have I broke rank here of the small kings with Tarico Davis being my guy, Kev?
I think so. I mean, Davis, what's he at? He's up at
He's 6'5", 6'4", 6'4" for a corner.
I think something like that. He's absolute. Yeah, he's a unit. And
He's
I
the
knew
opposite
Jim was going
to
to pick Dixon as well.
yeah, absolute. Well,
6'4",
well,
195.
that's because these guys have all got and these guys have all got something. There's challenges with some of their tape, but corner's such a PFF always used to say this. Cornerback is the most unpredictable position for ranking. So from how well you did in a previous season to how well you do in the next season is almost there's no correlation. So you just get into a groove as a corner and have a run of games and these kind of things. But yeah, Tarico Davis 6'4", but ran a 4.41. So we're talking about not the Pons level of thing, but the kind of best athletes, general athletes on 4.4, great speed, but at 6'4", all right, 194 is a little bit slim in the frame. But what can again, some of these bigger receivers will struggle with a bigger defender to match them up, and again, sometimes it's just about stopping the QB from throwing at these guys. So yeah, again, did better at the combine than his tape suggests. So maybe there's a bit of the workout warrior for Tarico Davis, but yeah, just an outlier the other way as an athlete.
Yeah, and I've gone with Davison Igbinison. Again, he's just sort of like ticks all the boxes for me. He's 6'2", 192. He ran a 4.45 40, which is spot on for the position. And obviously, he's for a New Jersey kid as well. You got to like big up the New Jersey kids when they come along. Played running back, wide receiver, defensive back in high school. Also did hurdles. He's just got like elite combination of size, length, speed. He's a loose athlete. He's got really good wingspan as well, which obviously helps when it comes to pass breakups and stuff. He's physical. He's competitive. Sometimes he needs to reel it back a bit because he can be a penalty waiting to happen. Good strength, physical tackler, like I said. He's got 7 pressures and a sack on 12 career pass rush snaps. So you love to see that. Yeah, like I said, he just can be a little bit handsy and give up too many penalties. But I'd rather rail that in than try and make someone a bit more physical.
and Dan Davidson Igbinison, I can't even say it. Candidate for your all name team.
Maybe. It's on the short list, put it that way.
And that maybe his biggest knock is he was on a defense playing a zone heavy scheme when everybody else was causing chaos, and actually you almost forget he has an important part to play to allow the other guys to do all this thing. So honestly, an Ohio State defense, he's almost the forgotten man that's coming out in this year's draft, right?
Yeah, definitely. Want to keep an eye on.
Okay, safeties. This will be a little bit quicker because we've got a little bit less to discuss because 1, 2, and 3 are unanimous. We've got a little bit of variation in where we put mine and Shane's 4th guy. You go with him in 5th.
I nearly had him at 4 as well.
Yeah, and then I really struggled with who would be 5th. I had all of the names here, like discussed. I think
of course, Shane's got a homer pick
at that point. So, 1, Caleb Downs. I don't think much surprise as he's been talked about as a top 5 pick. Although I think people have called on him a little bit, and I've seen some crazy talk At number 2, Dylan Thieneman.
Thieneman.
Thieneman. Thieneman as being, some people going, maybe he could be better than Downs, and I don't think it's close, but I think they are clear 1 and 2, and Thieneman in any other draft class would be your number 1 safety and worthy of a top 15 discussion. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren, number 3, again, a guy that's seen a phenomenal rise up draft boards, and is now the standout number 3. For me and Shane, we have him at 4, but AJ Halsey from LSU, Kev, you've got him at 5, and then this is where we get a bit of the variation. So 4th for you, Genesis Smith from Arizona, Kamari Ramsey from USC for me at 5, and what a surprise, Shane went for the Penn State guy, Zachy Wheatley, and his number 5. So again, not wanting to spend too much time because we're running very long tonight. Caleb Downs. Why is he elite? Have we talked about him enough? Just a quick one.
I don't think so. I think because everyone knows that what he is, and he's just so good. I mean, his measurables and his things won't jump off the page at you, but his instincts, his football instincts, is 100%. He knows what's going to happen as it happens, and he just clicks and closes so quick that he looks like the play was made for him. Do you know what I mean? He's just an absolute playmaker. I think if he was 6'3", 200 pounds or something like that, 210, then he would be consensus first non-quarterback off the board without a shadow of a doubt. But because he has that little bit of a smaller frame, but the thing is, like, when he tackles you, like I've seen people use this before, like it's like a car crash. He just hits with speed and power, and because he sees it so well, the offensive player doesn't see it coming. He's always around the football. I mean, was it 263 tackles, 96 stops, and 6 interceptions throughout his career? I mean, he is just a playmaker, and his family's all been in the game as well. I mean, what was it? His dad got drafted by the Giants in the 1994 draft. His brother Josh Downs plays wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, so you've got that NFL bloodlines.
Yeah, and again, safety does it all, right? The modern safety, you're quite happy with him as a box safety. You're quite happy with him as a coverage safety. You're quite happy having blitzing if you need to. Again, in that kind of modern safety, I'm not going to call him Carl Hamilton because he's not, but that kind of do it everything. Wild card on defense can fill number of roles depending on what the opponent's going to force you to do as a defense, and he's a guy that fills all of those needs in one person. Thieneman out of Oregon, again, he's another guy that's kind of got that kind of just absolute walks onto campus or walks into an NFL locker room and go, this guy belongs, right? He just plays with a competitive fire. He's going to fire up your teammates around him. But elite speed, coverage safety. I think more of a coverage safety than he is a box safety for sure. A zone kind of deep safety, but
especially that 40
incredible. Yeah. Exactly. Incredible, incredible range, 4.35, 41-inch vert. Again, explosives, so 1.5 to 10-yard split as well, which is 83 percentile. And he's just like, the range that he gives you on the back end, especially as we start to move towards this cover 2 system in the NFL, or people playing in enhanced numbers of that. He's a guy that kind of comes out and and gives you that coverage at a super high level. Probably, again, if we take positional value and into the thing, maybe isn't a typical top 15, but given this draft as a lack of this level of talent at the kind of positional value positions, I'm sure a team's going to take a chance on him in the top 20.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely a better free safety than he is sort of near the line of scrimmage as a box safety, I think. He could kind of get done in man coverage and motion and play actions and stuff like that when he was closer to the line of scrimmage. Whereas if he sits back there deep and he's got to see the whole field, he's absolutely like that 40 time as well. And be able to do that at 6 foot, 200 pounds. I mean, in his freshman year at Purdue, he was what? Second team All Big Ten. He was first team true freshman All American. And last year, he was first team All Big Ten. He just ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, and again, keeping him clean in the run game so he can come scream down and make a tackle rather than getting caught up in the box and hands on him is where you see his best work. Not to say he can't do the box safety stuff, but I think you're just taking away some of his best talent. EMW, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. What do you think, Kev? What's your key points for Emmanuel?
Well, he's a big boy, and when I was watching him, I actually sent a message into the group saying, I think I know who Shane's my guy is going to be, but obviously he's got him right in there at number 3, so he's not so much of my guy, but 6'3", 200 pounds. He can play the split safety role or play in the box. He ran a 4.52 40, which is good for a safety prospect. I just think he's well built. He's a good athlete. He's got good burst downhill. He's got strong arms. He tries to rip the ball out every time he makes a tackle. I think he's just really good, good instincts for the game, and he's a physical player. And he's one of those ones, like I said, he couldn't play single high, but he could play definitely split high or in the box. Yeah, I mean, I just think he's a really, really sound player. And Toledo seemed to be putting out these defensive backs recently, haven't they?
Yeah, it's become a bit of a safety factory, isn't it? It's that 6'4" and 32-inch arms. That's super rare at safety or defensive back as a thing. Maybe not the fastest 10-yard split, so he's more of a long speed guy given his size and everything else. So again, he struggles in the box a little bit with that kind of change of direction if he's forced to do it. But yeah, again, just rare talent size at the position, and a guy, again, he might even sneak into the first round now as well. So we could see 3 safeties in the first round, and which would be incredibly rare in terms of NFL talent. So back to the top. So AJ Halsey is my number 4, along with Shane. You got him at 5, Kev. Like you said,
yeah. So
nearly
for me,
put him at 4. Again, level of competition in that SEC.
So the thing is, with Halsey, I did want it higher. I just liked Dennis Smith just a little touch more, and I thought I'd be an outlier for him. I thought I'd be the only one, because he's 6 foot, 215 pounds, so he's a big, solid safety. He's sort of built a bit like a linebacker. But I just love this tape. And I'm gutted now I didn't put him at 4 and you guys have, because I thought I'd be higher on him. I thought you guys wouldn't have him in there. But he's just fast, physical, downhill striker. He's a thick body. He's got great instincts. He's all over the plays. He's good blitzer as well. Was it 3 pressures, 6 pass rushing snaps last year. He's been a full-time starter in every year he's played college. So he's racked up sort of the starts and the plays you want. I mean, his change of direction isn't great, but for me, I'm not too worried about that. Shiftier slot receivers do give him a bit of a problem. And his tackling style is a bit more sort of I want to lay you out than sound sort of wrapping up sort of good technique. But to be honest, when he goes to tackle someone, he more than often gets it right, to be honest.
Yeah, and this is where you get that kind of I find with him that he's that again that free safety zone. You say his change of direction is lacking sometimes, but he very rarely needs to use it. He just gets himself in the right position in the first place anyway. He understands where he needs to be in that.
His instincts are good.
Yes, and so he's very rarely lacking. He also has that patience as well to not bite on a play and force a quarterback to take a check down rather than wait for the deep receiver to come open. He just stays on top of his zone and keeps it that one step too long to make the quarterback uncomfortable in holding the ball any longer and taking the check down, which is, is kind of what the free safety, that kind of cover two, is what you want them to do. Yeah, I thought those four kind of picked themselves for me. Obviously, you've got Genesis Smith at 4. Do you want to take a quick one on Genesis Smith?
Yeah, I mean, what is he? 6'2", 202 pounds. He kind of like he's a versatile safety. He can play like in the box, free safety as a split. I just think he's your all round sort of prototypical safety. I mean, he's well built athlete. He's got long arms. He looks a little bit lanky, but he's got great strength. He's a fluid mover. He's not afraid to run the alley, which is good. He's got 10 pass breakups, 4 interceptions in the last 2 years, which you'd love to see from a safety. He's a hard hitter. I just think like he's just a good, well-rounded safety. There's not too much wrong with his game. I mean, his tackling technique, he can slip off tackles a little bit, but again, you'd work on that. I mean, like I said, he's just sort of like, doesn't excel at anything really, but he's just a really good all-round player.
Yeah, and then for me, I have Kamari Ramsey from USC. Again, he is a Swiss Army knife safety, so you can play him in the box, you can play him as a deep, and you can play him over the slot. He does really excel though when he is covering those tight ends, and he's covering that kind, and he's making aggressive plays on the ball. His coverage backpedal works really well. See him blow up a few screens now and again as well. That kind of hunting run. He's a little bit weaker at kind of diagnosing the run play and filling the kind of gaps that he needs to. Maybe he doesn't shed the tackles. Didn't have the ball production. So only 3 interceptions in his career at college as well. So didn't have that kind of turnover production that you'd expect for somebody who plays the coverage side so well. But just a guy that competes. Again, maybe not a plus athlete in terms of his change of direction, but at 4.47 40s, he's kind of in the upper echelons for a safety for his straight line speed. But yeah, that kind of changeability. And again, 6'202", he's a little bit on the smaller side for safeties. That's why I have him at 5. Where do you have him, Kev?
Sorry, who's that again? Sorry,
Kamari Ramsey from USC.
Oh, didn't like him at all. I have him outside my top 10, and it's not just because he's a USC player. Honestly,
yeah, and I really struggled with 5 to like. There's a big fall off after the first 4 for me. Wheatley is Shane's number 5. Where did he score for you?
Wheatley for me came in at number 9.
Yeah, me too. I had him at 9 as well. Yeah. So I'm sure that's just a home cooking Penn State. Shane had to get a Penn State guy on the board here. Right. Very quickly onto my guys. So Bud Clark was the guy that I had at 6, and Shane's got him here. A guy that competes. Shane's not a massive fan of TCU wide receivers. I don't know if that applies to the secondary for Shane, but he's got him here as my guy. Trading Stukes for Kev. Quick one on Stukes.
So Stukes for me, I cheated a little bit because he has played more of sort of that nickel box safety cornerback position. And when I was watching Genesis Smith, he kind of just stood out to me as well. Like when I was watching him, he can play sort of outside, inside. He's really good at keeping his eyes in the backfield. He comes downhill with good burst. He's got good, powerful hands as well. He doesn't get sort of held up by offensive line too often. 6 pass breakups and 4 interceptions in this past year in 2025. And he's played lots of special teams as well. So again, he's one of those players that he just sort of like, I was watching Genesis Smith's tape I could see this other guy in and around the box just making plays and getting interceptions. I thought, oh, so I had to look at him as well. And I just think he could be one of those players that a little bit like a Darius Washington, where it's a little bit of safety, a little bit of a slot nickel corner as well. Like, that sort of like Swiss Army knife in the backfield.
Yeah, and then for me, Lewis Moore from the national champion in Indiana. Not sure. Don't know if it's the guy you will have covered much, Kev. But again, another shorter guy, 5'11", 191. So it's a kind of the smaller guys in as a secondary, 29.5-inch arms. But oh my god, you put the tape on for him, and he is a fun watch. He's a guy that just has again elite instincts at understanding route combinations. Maybe he's a tape guy. I don't know, but understands deep half, single high, all able to jump. He's always competing for a ball, and you think, well, he just managed to track the ball deep over his shoulder, doesn't lose his stride, turns what you think, oh, this is an easy completion, and turns it into a contest, or even comes away with the ball. And 9 career interceptions. So he goes up, competes, and comes down with the ball. So he must have a strong hands. Again, willing and physical run defender, aggressive at filling the gaps, and just like that plays that kind of old school robber safety, kind of cuts under the roots and everything else. But again, undersized frame, few missed tackles, but it has improved over his career. And his long speed is not where you would like it. Maybe not a man coverage guy, but more again that zone kind of making up the ground, tracking the quarterback. Again, opposite to what when you take your eyes off a QB and you follow your guy, and you don't think. He's a guy that plays a lot of zone, but takes on that, but creates turnovers out of it as well. Not just playing off zone and keeping everything underneath.
I mean, the 6 interceptions, 5 pass breakups last year alone was phenomenal production. But I mean, when I say the 3 things I didn't like about him, it just all makes sense. In my opinion, that is, he's 25, start of the season. He's undersized, and he's not a great athlete. And running backs kind of like when he tries to tackle them, the running backs always get an extra couple of yards on him. So when I was seeing that, I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. And his tape is more fun than maybe his prospect profile, if you know what I mean. Like, he's an enjoyable watch. Again, came back. I think he started for 3 years after kind of being a backup in 22. I think he played back in 2020, right? So, or 20, no, 21 or 22. I think his first time on campus at Indiana. But obviously got the extra year of eligibility in high school. Stayed in high school effectively an extra year, then came out into Indiana, and he is a senior as well in out of college. So yeah, one of the older prospects, but yeah, fun on the tape. Again, a my guy, day 3, my guy, classic. So there you go, defense tick.
Bosh, defense done. Defense done. No, nice one, boys.
The thing is, we can talk about them so much. We need to get better at actually getting really sort of like bullet points, don't we? We need to go bosh, 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 bosh.
Yeah, but you know what? I love the detail as well, because it gives me a really sort of a good insight into some of these guys. You're my guys as well. It's just like that sort of like bit of a sleeper pick to look out for in the later rounds as well. So yeah, I love it.
And I think this draft class, everyone's sort of knocked it for being a bad draft or whatever, but it maybe doesn't have the premium cream at the premium position. But I've called it a my guys draft. There's going to be guys that go all over the place in the draft board, but you just go, I really like, that's a my guy. I really want that guy, and I go out and some people are going to go, well, that was a reach, but I think this is hyper draft. Don't wait for the guy to fall to where you think you can get him. If you like a guy, you're going to have to go and get him, because 28 other teams may
Yeah.
not have him anywhere near, but that one other team will have a high grade on him and pinch him before he comes back around. So just go out and get your guy in this draft.
Absolutely, that couldn't agree more. But yeah, it'd be good to keep an eye on all your top fives and your my guys to see where they get drafted. Hopefully one of the either linebackers or safeties we can pick up with pick number 5, because I'd be more than happy with either of them. So
yeah, I see no way of leaving this draft without one of these linebackers. Maybe not one of the ones we talked about, but certainly this draft class. There will be at least one linebacker drafted in this class to the New York Giants.
Oh, I don't even doubt it at this point. I really don't. Unfortunately, though, that is all we have time for this evening. So I appreciate all the detail into all those players, boys. We'll be back next Wednesday to carry on our breakdown of this year's draft prospects as we switch back onto the offense and take a closer look at the boys' top 5 receivers and running backs. So make sure you tune in then. But anything else to add before we go?
No,
Nothing
just
from-
God.
I'd say nothing from me. I think I've talked enough tonight about all of these exciting players. I am excited to move on back to the offense, though. You know, I love the offensive players, and we'll talk for. But just we did it this way round because we knew where the needs were on the team, and I think we're going to be drafting a lot more defensive players than we will offensive players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into next week. I mean, especially wide receiver. I'm really interested. The running back class, spoiler alert, it's not great. The wide receiver class is phenomenal. I really, really like this wide receiver class. So I'm interested to see what the boys have their top 5s, because we don't see them beforehand. So I'm interested to see what they think of the players I've got in my top 5.
Yeah, nice. The receiver class looks quite deep. Like I said, in regards to the running back class, there's kind of one name on that board, right, Kev?
Just the one.
Well,
There's
there's another
one name
golden dome. There's another golden dome I like as well.
But we can have that conversation next week, because I've got a couple
Absolutely.
of questions I'd like answered.
Nice. But yeah, again, like I said, lads, appreciate that that breakdown. Really enjoyed that, and thanks to everyone that was watching and listening for getting involved in your comments. As usual, we do appreciate all the love. So thanks for getting involved. Like I said, and my thanks as ever go to Kev and to Aaron for joining me. We're signing off. Until next time, let's go Giants.